The central question in the gospel for me, the central moment in the gospel for me today is that when John asks, are you the one who is to come, or are we to expect another? Are you the one who is to come? Not, are you the one who has come? Not putting it in the past tense. And also, and putting it in the present tense by the is to come. The one that has been promised already, and the one that will fulfill the promise. So for John, in these dark days in prison, he has an ongoing faith, a continuing faith, and he's holding on to the hope. At the beginning of Advent, we saw John the Baptist talking about the great hope: prepare a way for the Lord, make his path straight. We saw the urgency of his baptism. The one who will come after me, the one who will come very soon, I'm not fit to undo his sandal strap, and he will give you a baptism of fire. And here we have John disappointed, his disciples disenchanted, and Jesus' ministry beginning to come forward. Do John's disciples perhaps think that they're going to be deceived, let down, disappointed by another? John encourages them in that dark moment in prison, not by asking the question, are you the one who has come? Not by saying to them, he's the one who has come, the one who was promised. He said, no, he's the one who is promised, and is fulfilling the promise as you look at him. St. Jerome has a beautiful little idea where he says that perhaps John is looking for some hope to bring down when he descends into hell, because John's death is certain. John will not see the crucifixion of the Lord, and therefore John's death is prior to the salvation of all people and to the liberation of those who go down into hell, who descend into hell. John goes there before the Lord descends into hell to raise them up, as we say in the Creed. He descended into hell on the third day. He rose again and brought them all with him. So St. Jerome has this idea that John the Baptist perhaps takes the message of hope down to that dark place and say that soon he will bring those back and fulfill the prophecy of Isaiah. And that's exactly the answer that Jesus gives to John. He says the prophecy of Isaiah is being fulfilled. The blind can see, the lame can walk. All these wonderful things are happening. St. Jerome talks about it in terms of a sacrament. Is there another sacrament that is to come down into the depths and to fulfill that eternal life would be possible for those who have died because of the consequences and the wages of sin? Signs are already there as Jesus completes with his disciples their apostolic formation. The second body of teaching in St. Matthew's Gospel from chapter 8 to chapter 10. This is the beginning of chapter 11 that we're reading today, when the disciples, having been formed by the Lord for the ministry, then join him in going out to all the different cities and establishing the kingdom. And John the Baptist's imminent death comes right at the very beginning of that. So John the Baptist's death is significant for the disciples in understanding the death and suffering of Christ, which of course they will fail to understand until they themselves witness it. So the greatness of John the Baptist is in his leastness. The greatness of John the Baptist is in his leastness. Jesus says in the Gospel that there are none greater than John the Baptist, but he's the least in the kingdom of heaven. He's the last one who had to wait and endure the gates of Sheol before they could be opened to that newness of life, if we follow that little reflection of St. Jerome, and experience the sacrament of Christ's self-giving, the sacrament of his death. John's acceptance of death and suffering is grounded and rooted and sustained in the hope of the promise that is to be fulfilled. And so his mission is accomplished in entering into that suffering. His Advent mission, his mission of hope, is accomplished in having the courage to enter into that suffering, not by talking in the past tense, not by looking so much to the future, but reflecting on the isness. Are you the one who is to come? Is this actually happening before my eyes? And to that, Jesus echoes the answer of his mother to the angel when Jesus says, yes, tell him that these things are being fulfilled. The blind can see, the lame can walk, and those who have faith in me will not fall. It's the gospel passage that we read. The translation is, blessed is he who takes no offense at me. Blessed is he who is not worried by what they see and what they experience in me. The one who is to come endures the supreme sacrifice on the cross. And he is the wonderful sacrament of our redemption, who comes down to us, who is to come to us, is coming to us to touch us in the midst of our suffering and to give us the courage to remain steadfast in hope and firm in faith in the face of suffering. And our mission is accomplished in daring to hope in the one who does that for us, the one who is to come.